History is full of what-ifs. What if Rome never fell? What if the Mongols had conquered Europe? What if the Library of Alexandria had never burned? These questions fascinate us because they remind us how fragile history really is. One battle lost, one king dying too early, one decision going the wrong way, and the entire world changes. Today, I want to ask a question that almost nobody in the West has ever thought about. What if the Pala Empire never fell? Because if you understand what the Pala Empire was, a Buddhist superpower that ruled Bengal and northern India for 400 years, then you realize, if it had survived just a few more centuries, Asia today would look completely different. Buddhism might be the dominant religion of South Asia. The universities of Bengal might be older than Oxford, and the word Bengal might be as famous as Rome or Athens. This is that story. Let me quickly set the scene. The year is 750 AD. Bengal is in chaos. Local chiefs hold an election, yes, an actual vote, and choose a man named Gopala as their king. Gopala's son Dharmapala turns this small kingdom into one of the most powerful empires in Asia. He controls Bengal, Bihar, and at his peak, most of northern India. He builds Vikramashila University, the Oxford of the ancient world. His grandson Devapala commands armies with 5,000 war elephants. The Arab world calls Bengal the kingdom of Dharma, the kingdom of righteousness. For 400 years, this empire is the greatest patron of Buddhism in the entire world. And then, in 1174 AD, the Pala dynasty finally collapses, replaced by the Hindu Sena dynasty, followed shortly after by the Turkic invasions that destroyed Vikramashila and Nalanda. Buddhism, which the Palas had kept alive for 4 centuries, almost completely disappears from the land that created it. So, what if that collapse never happened? The first and most dramatic change would be religion. When the Pala Empire fell, Buddhism in India went into rapid decline. Without the Pala kings funding monasteries, protecting monks, and building universities, Buddhism had no institutional support. Within a few centuries, Buddhism had nearly vanished from the land where it was born. Today, less than 1% of India's population is Buddhist. But what if the Palas had survived? With a strong Buddhist empire protecting the religion, Buddhism might have remained the dominant faith of Bengal, Bihar, and perhaps all of eastern India. Think about what that means. Bangladesh today might be a Buddhist nation, not a Muslim-majority one. West Bengal might have one of the world's largest Buddhist populations. The religious map of South Asia, one of the most complex and contested landscapes in the modern world, would look completely different. And some of the religious conflicts that have defined this region for centuries might never have happened at all. Here's the second massive change. Vikramashila and Nalanda, 2 of the greatest universities in human history, were both destroyed in the 1190s and 1200s. If the Pala Empire had survived, these universities would have had powerful royal protection. The armies that destroyed them might never have reached them. And if those universities had survived, they would be over 1,200 years old today. For comparison, Oxford University was founded in 1096 AD, Cambridge in 1209 AD. Vikramashila was founded around 800 AD. Surviving Vikramashila would be 200 years older than Oxford. Imagine what 1,200 years of continuous scholarship would have produced. The scientific discoveries, the philosophical works, the medical knowledge. Bengal might have had its own renaissance centuries before Europe had one. Now let's think bigger. A surviving Pala Empire, strong, Buddhist, and well-organized, would have been a serious military and political power well into the medieval period. The Delhi Sultanate and later the Mughal Empire expanded across northern India, partly because there was no unified power in Bengal to stop them. A strong Pala Empire might have blocked the Turkic invasions from reaching. Bihar protected the universities from destruction, formed alliances with Buddhist kingdoms in Tibet and Southeast Asia, created a Buddhist corridor stretching from Bengal to Tibet to Southeast Asia. Think of what that coalition would have looked like. Bengal, Tibet, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, all connected by a shared Buddhist culture, protected by a powerful Bengal-centered empire. Southeast Asia today, Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, is still deeply Buddhist, with a surviving Pala Empire. That Buddhist world might have extended all the way back to its original homeland, a Buddhist superpower stretching from Bengal to Bali. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. The Pala school of art, the sculptures, paintings, and bronzes created during the Pala period, are considered among the finest artistic achievements in Asian history. Today, Pala bronzes sit in museums in London, New York, Berlin, and Tokyo. They are that beautiful. That's significant. But here's the thing, the Pala artistic tradition was cut short. When the empire fell and Buddhism declined, the artistic tradition that had been building for 400 years lost its royal support and cultural foundation. What if it had continued for another 400 years, or 800? We might be talking about a Bengal-centered artistic and cultural tradition as famous as the Italian Renaissance. Pala art might be taught in every art school in the world, the way Greek sculpture or Renaissance painting is today. Instead, most people in the West they've never even heard of it. Now, to be fair, the Pala Empire didn't fall for just one reason. A few key factors brought it down. First, the tripartite struggle. For decades, the Palas fought constant wars against the Rashtrakutas and the Gurjara Pratiharas for control of Kannauj. These wars drained resources and weakened the empire. Second, weak successors. After the great kings Dharmapala, Divapala, Mahipala, came a string of rulers who couldn't hold the empire together. Third, the Sena dynasty, a powerful Hindu kingdom that rose in Bengal, replaced the Palas in the 12th century. In other words, the Pala Empire fell for the same reasons most empires fall: internal weakness, succession problems, rivals waiting for the right moment, which means a slightly different series of decisions, a stronger successor here, an alliance there, and the story might have ended completely differently. History didn't have to happen the way it did. The Pala Empire could have survived. Vikramashila could still be standing. Buddhism could be the majority religion of Bengal. And a 1,200-year-old university in Bihar might be the most famous place of learning in the world. Instead, it's a set of ruins that most people in the West have never heard of. But here's what I believe. Knowing what was lost is the first step to appreciating what these civilizations actually achieved. And the more people know about the Pala Empire, the harder it becomes to forget them. If this video made you think about history differently, subscribe to Jiten Scrolls, because we're not done. There are dozens more stories like this one: forgotten empires, lost universities, undefeated kingdoms waiting to be told. I'm Jiten. See you in the next one.